Danielle, how are you?
I'm good. Just beautiful Saturday out today. We've had some really good weather this week, so I'm stoked on that. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm definitely having a little fear of missing the outside good weather right now because it's just like work, 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 work to get this all done right now. But I'm looking forward to when I can just like close the laptop for good and go out and
I
enjoy.
mean, like I'm not answering any emails, like not checking it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually meant to open the windows before we started this. I was like, let some fresh air in, but it's all good. I'm not at my house right now.
Oh, cool.
I've been house sitting for my friend while they're out of town.
Nice.
Yeah, which is nice. I live with like two men, and it's usually very gross in my house. I mean, they're great. They're great. It's just like it's nice to live in other people's homes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And space, I mean, like, I think living with other people, regardless of gender, is just like you got to put up with their
Uh,
mess and their proclivities and the things they don't pay, the things that they're blind to,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And I think that's like the gender thing is what I'm bringing up. It's just like the things that I notice versus the things that they notice on me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing,
It is a thing. It is a thing.
dudes behave in ways. And
Yeah,
so time honored, time honored shifts are in order, of course,
yeah,
in
yeah.
the gendered way of being. Well, I'm so glad we could have a few moments to talk. I feel like we haven't had very much like one-on-one class time, just shooting the shit, this last year uh, of pandemic grad school.
We haven't, and it's been yeah. I'm just like every sort of interaction I have like this nowadays, I feel like I just like really need to acknowledge that. Like, hi, we are like people with like dimensionality and like scent and like height. And it's just, yeah. I mean, like, I'm so glad that we have the technology to do this. But yeah, I've just been like mourning it more lately, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're going to end this program. We'll have spent, I mean, we got a little more than half of our program all in person, but like basically we've spent half of our program separated, 3 full semesters of like dispersal and Zoom meetings. And I think we've made it work, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we weathered it really well, I think. Like, I think there was a period where you forget like it used to be different, like that we used to like meet in person and stuff. It just seemed like we got used to like this is how it is. We talk about interactive artworks like on WebEx and try to explain them, and it's really hard to do that. And yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, so speaking of interactive artworks, why don't you tell us a little bit about the project that you've got going on?
Yeah, so my thesis work for the IMDA MFA program is called The Sky's Coming, and it's a multisensory installation. It's mainly a 2-channel video installation, so there's the film component, and that can like kind of have a life of its own, and um, hopefully I'll be able to share that a little bit more widely. And then on the installation part of it, there's like a astroturf that you can walk around and lay on if you want. And I've made a perfume out of the Bradford pear tree that is like a part of like an olfactory component to the installation. So The Sky's Coming is about a relationship between a developing thunderstorm and its human lover, sort of like looking at the dynamics of human created climate change affecting weather systems, and then those weather systems in turn overwhelming us. So
Mhm.
I a little bit with that dynamic.
That's
Yeah.
so exciting. I can't wait to see it. I mean, of course, hearing about it as you've been developing it. And yeah, the Bradford pear perfume, I'm very excited to smell. Read.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I feel like people have such an opinion. Like I don't know. I was at a coffee shop like a couple hours ago getting coffee and talking to the baristas there, and I was like, yeah, I'm collecting blossoms from the Bradford pear tree to make this perfume today. And everybody's kind of like, Oh, like, you know, like it's just like such a horrible smell, but like I really like it. I've met other people that really like it. It's just, yeah.
It's a little bit comforting in a way. And like, so we go way back, you and I,
Yes.
to
Yeah.
when I was running operations for the film festival and you were an intern. And we worked in this like little tiny shitty carriage house, but with no cross ventilation. But like we had Bradford pears like right outside,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
all like our festival was in the spring, and so like really like I associate that smell with like all this like activity and generation, and I mean it's like one of those smells that I kind of grew to not necessarily love, I guess, but
Nostalgia factor.
like have like this like kind of like excitement, like we're like building something that's going to happen, and it's just all this energy is coming. So I feel like
It's like a very specific, like there's only like really a window where they really smell like they're like really fragrant and spunky. So it would be like right around now till around like the Maryland Film Festival is usually like the first weekend of May, second
yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, right now is the pocket for like woo.
Yeah. Yeah. And it like it's just I feel like living in Maryland, living on the East Coast, like or at least, you know, with the changing seasons, like spring just comes on so fast and it just like punches you in the face. And it's just like yesterday and today they like bloomed and you can just today was the first day that you can like really smell it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well, I
kind of
haven't been out to try it myself, but I will.
okay. Well, you have to get out
Yeah, so if
after.
I don't get out, I'm just going to come over and get a like.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just send you a vial or drop off.
That's really exciting. That's so exciting. Did you are you surprised that you're doing this project for your final thesis project? Was this something that you had been like cooking for a while?
Yeah, no, it's not a surprise. I think like you, I have like a queue of projects that I'm just like, okay, like this is what's next in the queue. And obviously that changes. Like for the past 3 years, I've gotten into like, you know, my research has like taken me down different pathways. But this was like an idea I've had for at least a few years. Like, um, I remember like a few summers ago, it might have been like the summer of 2016, which is like super specific, but I just like noticed that like I'd get like really particularly like sexually frustrated in like the height of the summer when it'd get like really humid and it like felt like it was gonna rain and it would never rain. Um and I just like kind of like had these notes in my phone about like what that feeling was like. And then to like when it finally rained to feel like, I don't know, like this sort of release like with the atmosphere. And it was kind of like this bizarre thing. But I just like it was just strange because like yeah, I know like the atmosphere and atmospheric pressure like affects people's like um body aches and like maybe like headaches and such like that. But it just like had this really I had this like strange bodily correlation with like these really hot, humid summer days that like it felt like it was going to rain and it never did. So
Mhm.
that's kind of where this project was born out of. And I just sort of had it in the notes app on my phone for
Yeah, yeah.
years.
That's so interesting because Baltimore is definitely a place in the time that I lived here where, yeah, and in the summer in particular, where like it'll just be like that humid, and then like the skies will open up and pour for like 15 minutes,
And that's it. Yeah.
and that's it. Then it's just gone. Like
Yeah.
very like something I always kind of associate, I guess, with tropical, even though we're kind of, mid-Atlantic seaboard.
Yeah. And I mean, this is, yeah, I've been on the East Coast forever, my whole life. So that's all I know. I mean, I know you West Coast and then things are a little different, but yeah. Um, and there's like, I mean, I've noticed like in the past few years, especially last year while we were filming this, because like in the film, I have like an actual thunderstorm that My cinematographer Amy Oden and I went out and filmed like all of last July. We would be kind of like tracking these, like July, we get a lot of thunderstorms, usually like around like Artscape and stuff in Baltimore. That didn't happen last year, but they're pretty frequent, but it's just like, it's still that like that heaviness. And, like you're always looking at the apps, and meteorology is like this really imperfect science. So you like think it's gonna thunderstorm that day, and then it just gets like really dark and heavy, and then nothing
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's so interesting because it's like kind of the exact opposite of typical filmmaking. Like when you're like, we're losing light, we got to get this like done, done, done before all this like shit comes down on us.
No, I did think about that, because you're usually hoping that it doesn't rain, right? You're like, oh, please don't rain. Like, we can't have it rain on this scene. And so it was so strange to be like, it has to rain the day that we have time to film.
Yeah.
But luckily, Amy's like a documentary maker. So she's very good at like running gun, sort of like, hey, can you be like up at Druid Hill Park in 15 minutes? Like we would
Yeah.
just take off.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's great to have a solid collaborator like that.
Yeah, super solid, super solid.
Yeah, that's exciting. Did you get like all the footage? That's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking too, to try to get all that footage almost a year ahead of when you actually were going to be employing it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just had like I had known that this would be my thesis project, and part of having to like, decide and like figure out these things pretty early on was because I knew I wanted to actually film the storms rather than use stock footage. And so like I just had like the whole of last summer to sort of explore that. There's an element to the film that's like it's like you're watching the storm, but then like you can also, the character like scrubs through the footage of the storm on their iPhone.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I was like, that sort of came about like in me having the time with that filmmaking process last summer, because like I would go out by myself and just record video of the storms forming on my iPhone, like if Amy couldn't make it that day, just to sort of get a feel for it. And so that's how that ended up getting incorporated into the film, because I noticed they unfold pretty slowly, but I really liked being able to like look through them forming really quickly. And I mean, it sounded horrible, because that's the other thing about this is like, normally you could just like enjoy and watch a thunderstorm coming in, but when you're like you need it, and it's like you have to like capture it, it's just like the whole process becomes like so much more like not how you want to experience nature. It's this like serene thing that's happening in reality. It's just like, we've got to get it, and we've got to be able to capture it so then we can manipulate it. It's like, I don't know. So like that whole process like really informed like what the final thing like ended up being.
Yeah,
You know?
that's cool. I cannot wait. I can't wait to see it. Did you learn anything about thunderstorms that you didn't really understand before?
Yeah, I don't think like I understood like that thunder, like the thunder and lightning, like how that, so like there are like all these electrical charges that build up. And so when they're like building up, they're like ripping particles, electric particles, like they're ripping at each other. And so then that is the sound of thunder, which I don't know, I had never looked into it.
Mhm.
And so now I know that they're like related in that sense, where I think I always thought of them as like sort of separate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's
That's
cool.
cool.
Well, what are you going to do when you're all done? Do you have anything like exciting that you're looking forward to this summer after you're done with this?
I don't know what my life looks like after the middle of May.
Who
So
does?
I don't know. What about you? I feel like this question.
Yeah, I'm gonna, one of my goals is that I want to read nothing but fiction and biographies for a few
Yeah.
months.
That is real. That's always, I mean, last summer I couldn't do that because of like prepping for thesis, but that is always like a summer thing. Or it has been since in grad school. It's like, I'm reading for leisure this summer, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so reading for sure. Definitely getting, I'm really bad at like taking vacation.
Mm,
Um, but I feel like graduating and everything, like I really want to like do something. So my partner and I were talking about yesterday. I think we're gonna go to Vermont like
cool.
May 20th or something, which is the day of commencement, but I'm not doing the virtual commencement. So I was like, do I need to be around? I don't know. I'd
Yeah,
rather go to Vermont. So
right, right. Yeah, we're every summer I go, me and Kristen, we go with another couple on a getaway of some sort. So we're going away. In that other couple, one of them is finishing her undergrad degree. So
nice.
we're going to go off and have our own graduation party that same weekend.
That same weekend. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
and we're going to be gone. Yeah, we're going to be gone for a whole bunch of days, which is going to be really, really nice. Um, but yeah, I think reentry is just going to be, I mean, reentry is going to be weird.
I know. It's like it's such a like I mean, I've just realized these past 3 years, I'm like getting your MFA is like such a magical time. It's like 3 years of like having the support and resources and people just being like, just focus on this one thing. So
Mhm.
um I'm gonna miss it. I'm trying, I've like applied to a bunch of stuff, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, good luck. I hope you get everything that you want.
No, thank you. Thank you. I just, yeah. Or else I like told Sims the other day, I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll just like move to like Reno or something and work at a bank. Like I'd be okay with that too. Sometimes it's like, yeah, sometimes I want to do like a really like drastic move away from art. Like something like really like sort of I don't know, just very different. Banking.
Yeah, yeah,
Very precise. I'm not good at math, but like I feel like I could work at a bank.
yeah. Well, because there's other skills you need to employ, like
Yeah.
people, people skills. I don't know what you have to do.
Right. And there's like calculators and it seems like I could do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There was a job posting for a brewer at the brewery that's like 2 blocks from my house,
Oh, okay.
and I
You
was like, maybe I should be a brewer.
are like, maybe that's the life change I need after being a grant writer for so long.
Yeah, that's not. I'm not putting my hat in the ring for that because I don't want to. I need a little bit of reprieve.
Yeah, so that's what you're thinking. Are you thinking like do something sort of like that and then like ease back into
Something. I feel like, I mean, I got a couple of jobs that'll like tide me over through the summer. They're
that's
really,
good.
like kind of low key. I'm going to be teaching at a writers conference,
That's great.
um, which is
Is it
exciting.
are they virtual?
Yeah, all
That's
virtual.
great. So you can be wherever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll be from here. And doing some work for an arts organization here. But I'm like, I think I've looking like projecting my summer finances. I'm like, I think I can really take it slow to get back into what I'm doing, when it comes around to the fall.
That's great.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm a career of hopping from one thing to another. I feel like I'm glad I'm not like anxiety ridden about like what's going to happen.
Yeah. 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 It seems like you're like really like adaptable in that way where like yeah I just get really freaked out like I couldn't I was freelancing before I went back to school just for like a year maybe and it was really hard on me.
It's
That's
hard.
why I loved like the structure of school and everything. I'm like I know what I'm going to be doing for the next 3 years and of course like the summers were like always a little um like I found stuff but and I know like I know things are going to be okay like I'm going to figure it out but yeah it's just like now that we have our written thesis in and things are like getting installed, it's like, okay, like really, like what are you doing after May
Yeah, of
15th?
course, that's the question on everybody's lips, which is so, and
Yeah.
I mean, and especially I think if you're really pursuing an academic path right now, like, I mean, because if
Yeah.
you don't know now, it's mostly too late for the fall, if you don't know
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I might want to teach. I've put everything out there, at least on a local level and beyond. But yeah, I figure by now it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah. It's either that or like they're all like, okay, last minute, let's get our adjuncts like filled up. Like,
Yeah,
who's available,
I do think like some schools I talk to are like still like are a little bit slower figuring out like their fall schedule just because of like COVID stuff. So no,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a mess. I mean, I feel like overall I think that UMBC's done UMBC's done a pretty good job of like keeping communication going. I mean, I don't envy anybody their job in having to kind of try to keep an even keel right now.
Oh no. I was so like when this all started, I was just like I had so many opinions, of course, but I was just like, I'm so glad I'm not in charge of anything right now.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Like I don't have to make any calls on any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has been so much fun. Is there anything else we should touch on? Anything I've overlooked in your piece?
I don't think so. No, I felt like I gave you my spiel, which
Yeah.
was good. Yeah, I'm just excited for all of it. I'm excited to see how this turns out. I'm excited to watch it on your side and at the gallery, hopefully. No, I think it's going to be really great. I'm excited for us all to show our work.
Yeah. It's going to be a good time.
Oh. Well, am I your last interview today? Do you get to go outside after this?
And I'm going to talk to Lindsay in a little bit.
Okay.
And then Lindsay's my last one of the day.
Nice.
I've got just a handful more to do. I've got a couple of like community people that I'm like still kind of hoping I'm able to pull in, um, get it under the wire, But yeah, getting this all wrapped up
It's a marathon,
it really is.
but
And
you were always preparing for it to be a marathon. So,
yeah, it's funny to think about how this has shifted because like, this was originally just going to be an all live show during during the run,
yeah.
so like we wouldn't even been having this conversation until what, the 13th, 14th, 15th, something, somewhere in that time frame. And with live people there and face to face and the whole thing, and people could go and look at it, and I'm like, I've had to like deconstruct this whole thing.
And you're like constantly adapting it.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's been a fun process in a way, fun and completely unnerving process to like put it together like this. But I think what's great is that it's going to have this like, it's going to be this like incredible document of like Baltimore artists of all levels of experience.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling like it's going to be the show that I really wanted it to be in many
Good.
ways.
Good.
Um, but without the live music, I mean, I want a live
Are
musician.
you still doing a musical element to it?
There are going to be performances that are going to be included from some of the musicians that I'm talking to, um, and I think that I'm probably going to be doing on or about May 1st. I'm going to do a live stream to show
Oh,
and
okay.
just do a music show as a part of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, but like after everything's submitted, after I've got my like written thesis submitted and I've got time to like just really like rehearse.
Yeah. So I mean pretty soon. Yeah. After installing. Yeah.
So that'll still be part of the run, but I'm just like, I had these visions of like, oh, like I'll bring on a musician from like one kind of genre and then like they'll do a song and then maybe we'll do a duet, maybe we'll pick a duet and I'll sing with them, like I had these like really lofty.
Right, you had like specific songs. You're like, this
Yeah.
one, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But as that kind of blew apart, I'm like, well, how can we reassemble it in a way that isn't gonna, completely kill me? Because like I'm still having to do it. I mean, having to like subtitle all of this. I'm having to like produce, like do a full video production here, which, I mean, I can kind of do, but like it's not, my strength isn't on the tech side,
Right, right. It's on
and
like this side of things. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Um, so yeah, it's just an interesting process to like shift this in the way that it has been shifted. And who knows, maybe this will have another life of its own. Maybe I'll get to continue doing it on this like video way and then make the show happen in a live setting at some point. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not opposed to that, but I'm definitely going to have to get support and a budget to,
Right. So then you have this thing that you've created and you're like, hey, this is what I can do. Like, give me money and like, let me do it live, you
yeah.
know?
And it's funny because I kind of resist the idea that this is a live stream or a YouTube show or a podcast, even though this is like,
Generally the format. Yeah, like
yeah,
format and yeah, it's the technology you would
yeah.
use.
So I don't know, like I'm being dragged backwards into being a YouTuber is really what I guess it boils down to. So
Maybe this is when you start your YouTube channel. You're like,
it
maybe
literally,
you'll be so comfortable just like being away from people and behind the screen that you're like, actually, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
won't be around real
Maybe.
people anymore. Just kidding. I don't think that's gonna happen for you. It's not gonna.
I mean, you know, there's parts of this quarantine that I really like
Oh, me too.
a lot.
As an introvert, I was like, I feel bad, but I love just like on the weekend not having like things to, just it's I remember like those first couple weekends when this all started and we had to like stay away from people. I was just like, what do I oh, I can like read in the after. It's just like this different, like sort of like carving out of like leisure time that I just did not have before. And it feels weird like now when I do get together with people, like we had some friends over last weekend and like I get tired after like an hour of just
Mhm.
being around people and I'm just like it's gonna be an easing back in
It
for
really will be. It really will be. Like, yeah, it's really one thing to control every aspect of who you see and when.
yeah. Yeah, and like and just like the conversations you kind of have to have like leading up to hanging out with people and just like the negotiations. Like I think we'll all be better like about consent and everything like after this is all done. But yeah, it's just it's bizarre. Yeah. My friend Ellery and I were talking about like having like a workshop series where we like people meet in the park and we just like practice like social skills like for reacclimating to like post-pandemic life, even though that's like not yet. But just like, okay, the two of you are over here having a conversation. I need you to go over and interject and like become a part of the group. And it's like, okay, just like sort of like skills like that we haven't had because we're just used to like, sort of speak. At least some of us. I know
Yeah.
not everybody's past year has like looked the same. And that's the one thing I've felt really lucky about like being in this program during this time. And, like we have been able to do things virtually and be safe. And
Yeah.
I just feel really grateful for that.
Yeah. No, that's real. I mean, I can't I can't imagine those times when I've been working retail, when I've done those things, when I've needed those jobs. Like I would not have had the liberty to do what I've done. It would have made that whole experience a lot worse for me, I'm sure. So
Mhm.
I feel especially grateful. I try not to brag about it, because I know. But I
Right,
also,
'cause I just, yeah, not everybody's like experience has been like on Zoom the past
yeah,
year. There are people that like are just like in the weeds, like in the thick of it, like in retail and grocery
yeah,
stores and hospitals.
yeah. But
Yeah,
I also put in my time doing those jobs. So
yeah, yeah. You're like, it's yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, Danielle, thank you so much for spending
Thank
some time. I hope you
you.
get to go out and enjoy some of the beautiful weather.
I'm going
And
to do that now.
cool, cool. The sky is coming. Visit
It's
it.
coming.
All right.
This
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Rain. This has been such a pleasure.
So good.
All
You're
right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.